Hello everybody! Welcome to another episode of Reacting Reddit, where real humans read, react, and summarize trending topics and stories. Today we're going to be getting into the Grammys, or as some people call them, the Scammies. First, let's get some context. We're going to look at Wikipedia for those of you who aren't familiar with the Grammys. The Grammy Award, stylized as Grammy, originally called Gramophone Award. A gramophone's a really old speaker, basically. It's those big things with the spinny discs and the big megaphone you see in cartoons sometimes. The first audio device, basically, that was, widespread. Gramophone, aka Grammy. That's what the name is, just so you know. Alright, let's move on. The Gramophone Award, or just Grammy, is an award presented by the Recording Academy to recognize achievement in the music industry. The trophy depicts a gilded gramophone. The annual presentation ceremony features performances by prominent artists and the presentation of awards that have more popular interest. The Grammys are considered one of the four major annual American Entertainment Awards, along with the Academy Awards film, the Emmy Awards television, and the Tony Awards theater and Broadway. The Grammys have been constantly criticized for snubbing awards and nominations from certain artists. Critics include artists who have received awards, artists who were nominated but didn't win, and also artists who didn't get nominations that they deserved. In 2020, Canadian artist Abel Tesfaye, known by his stage name The Weeknd, was completely shut out of the Grammys when his fourth studio album, After Hours, received 0 nominations at the 63rd Annual Grammy Awards. This came as a complete shock to critics, fans, and Tesfaye himself, who had a successful run in 2020 with the success of both his album and the single Blinding Lights. Now to the news. By Vox, after criticizing the Grammys for years, this year a number of artists seemed to decide enough was enough. After one of the top artists of 2020, The Weeknd, didn't receive a single nomination, despite having a record-breaking phenomenon album and a single in Blinding Lights, he vowed to boycott the Grammys this year and in the future by not performing during the 2021 show and not submitting his music for consideration at the awards going forward. He kicked off a string of withdrawals and avoidances from a number of high-profile artists, most notably celebrities like Nicki Minaj, Zayn Malik, Ariana Grande, and Beyoncé, who declined to perform at the ceremony despite being the most nominated artist of the night. Beyoncé is also the one who has won the most. She's won like 27 of these things. Part of the reason for the Recording Academy's discordant approach to its own industry may be that its voting process is notoriously secretive and obscure, and reportedly ripe with corruption, according to a complaint filed in 2020 by its former CEO, Deborah Dagan. The Academy subsequently tried to overhaul the process, inviting over 2,300 new artists to become voting members. But as some of the boycotting artists noted, the entire voting procedure needs more work. Vox continues, the Grammys production team was evidently hyper-aware of this tension. During the ceremony, the Recording Academy's interim president and CEO, Harvey Jr., delivered a speech in which he pledged on behalf of the group to listen harder to marginalized voices, and near the end of the ceremony, the telecast displayed a title card noting that the Recording Academy and CBS stand against all forms of racism, sexism, violence, anti-Semitism, and hate. Oh! Well, that's kind of funny because the biggest criticisms against the Grammys aren't so much that they're necessarily racist or sexist. The Grammys underrepresent black people, and that is one of their many criticisms, but the main criticism is that the Grammy is supposed to be an award show for musical talent, aka artists who produce content that greatly influences music itself. Yet, that's not what the rewards go to. The rewards go to artists who produce mass-produced content that doesn't end up being that influential, but a lot of people listen to on the radio and talk shows and that kind of thing. And that's what the rewards are. And if you listen to all the artists who critique the Grammys, most of them aren't saying, they're not talking too much about racism or sexism or violence or anti-Semitism or hate speech. Like, that's not the thing they're critiquing the Grammy people for. The thing they're critiquing it for is the sellout nature of the Grammys. That you have to fundamentally separate yourself from the core of your music and make music that's made to get widespread and popular instead of really good original creative content. So it's kind of funny that the team is trying to be like, we're not racist, we're not this. And it's like, yeah, they are racist. They underrepresent black people usually. But aside from that, the bigger criticism is that the Grammys themselves don't really matter that much and are a way of stroking the ego of the people who are already doing well. So, yeah, you can find multiple speeches of people receiving the awards where they literally say, huh, this doesn't matter. Like, in their award speech. Freaking great. There was also, 2 years ago, Drake received a Grammy and started to throw shade at the whole process, and they literally cut off his microphone. Anyway, moving forward. The Washington Examiner adds, viewers of the Grammy Awards expressed outrage that many celebrities were seen maskless at various times during the annual show. Celebrities such as Taylor Swift, Doja Cat, Megan Thee Stallion were seen interacting with others without masks, while other celebrities took to the stage maskless and even hugged presenters. Ooh, brutal. The show did follow social distancing rules when it came to where people were seated, and the stage was outdoors. Most celebrities were seen wearing masks while seated, and organizers also worked with experts to ensure the show was safe. Celebrities have been some of the most vocal supporters of mask mandates, touting it as a way to save lives, so people have been critical of this. It was actually kind of funny. This is from the Washington Examiner, right? But the Washington Examiner is an interesting news source because they basically never create their own content. Like right now, I'm telling you my voice, this is my content, right? Whereas most of the time, I'm reading you content from other places, which is what the Washington Examiner does. They literally make an article and it's like, this happened, one original sentence stating this happened. Now, this person who's famous said this on Twitter. This person who's famous said this in response, and these people responded. End of article. It's like, wait, you're just telling me what people on Twitter say. I could just go to Twitter. Like, you know? Yet I still used it as a source in this video. It was just funny seeing how, like, I make more original content than the Examiner actually does. They just post reposts of other stuff. It's pretty funny. The Daily Wire adds, on Sunday evening, audiences watched the 63rd Grammy Awards in Los Angeles. Hosted by Trevor Noah, the semi-socially distanced ceremony celebrated last year's musical heroes, with notable awards going to Beyoncé, Taylor Swift, and Billie Eilish. Media members couldn't celebrate the performance more enthusiastically if they tried. CNN's Chloe Mellis described it as a very sex-positive performance. They gloriously twerked and strutted and owned the stage in Barbarella-esque outfits, referencing female empowerment, sexual pride, and delivering undoubtedly one of the most memorable Grammy performances of all time, she wrote. People magazine described the performance as provocative, saying that if it existed, the trophy for the night's most jaw-dropping moment would have gone to Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. For those who aren't aware, the song's message begins with the lines, I said certified freak. Oh, wait, I gotta get this right. I said certified freak, 7 days a week, wet ass pussy, make that pull-out game weak. And only continues to further demonstrate its Shakespearean lyrical genius. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass pussy. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes, this pussy is wet, come take a dive. Or maybe she says pool? I don't know, I'm just assuming it's pussy. And gobble me, swallow me, drip down the side of me are just a few highlights. It is simply impossible to argue that Dr. Seuss, Dumbo, and Pepe Le Pew must be eradicated from our society for various moral offenses, but that Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's performance on Sunday evening is one of empowerment that must be celebrated. If Pepe Le Pew is cancelled, for perpetuating rape culture, for example, then it is absurd to claim that Cardi B is not perpetuating that same supposed culture by, albeit willingly, presenting herself as an easily accessible sexual object on a stripper pole as men in the audience cheer her on. Well, oh man, I'm gonna have fun with this. I totally don't agree with the Daily Wire in this way because, like, okay, we have been subjected to loads and loads and loads of men misogyny. You know what we need to balance that out? Is women with misogyny. We need more women singing songs like this, being the same way that men are, because it points out the ridiculousness of it. And the reality is, we should accept these performances. They're just about sex. Literally something all of us do. And if we don't have sex, our culture dies. Literally disappears. Sex is the most important thing for humanity to do, aside from keeping itself alive today with food and shelter. If you don't have sex, if you don't procreate, humanity dies. So it's totally hypocritical that we give so much shit to people for making music about sex when most music is about sex and love, and it has always been that way. Our societies hinge on these things, and you can't compare being concerned about children watching a children's cartoon to being concerned about watching the award ceremonies for some of the most sexually provocative music that exists. If anybody has told you that an award ceremony should be a children's television show, that's obviously not true. You cannot compare children's cartoons to an award ceremony as if they're the same thing. Also, a girl talking about having sex in a vulgar way does not perpetuate rape culture. There's literally nothing about consent or saying no. You can analyze that entire song, and I've listened to it loads of times. I've sung it myself. I've said the words. It doesn't perpetuate rape culture. Pepe Le Pew is controversial because he literally keeps pursuing a girl after the girl says no. And yeah, and that it's dumb to get rid of Pepe Le Pew cartoons, because if you actually watch the cartoons, you can see that he never gets the girl. It's a lesson that you can't be like that, because the girl won't want to put up with you, and you're never gonna get anywhere. But most people don't watch it far enough to get that lesson. They just see the skunk pursuing the girl, and it's unconsensual, and they get mad, right? So that's a separate topic. But my point here is that this song is literally a graphic song about having sex and being really into having sex. There's nothing about rape. It does not perpetuate rape culture. There's nothing about continuing if somebody says no. There's nothing about consent. There's nothing about saying no. There's nothing about saying yes. Nothing about rejection in the whole song. So it's very dumb to say that it's the same thing as perpetuating rape culture. I personally don't agree with either. I think we should all be porn stars and we should all be live streamed constantly so our fucking politicians can have to face the fact that they have sex too. They're humans. Everybody's real and human and does this stuff. And it's so fucking dumb that our society just shit talks it and judges. And it's so ridiculous because at our core, if we don't have sex, we fucking die. We cease to exist. So it's so ironic that we have all of this pent-up frustration about sex. And the reality is, most humans actively want to have sex with somebody that they love. But they're told that that's a sin, that that's evil, that that's bad, so they don't do it. And then they see other humans doing it, and they're like, nuh-uh, that's not fair. I don't get to do that, so you don't get to do it either. Nuh-uh, I'm a little baby toddler, wah, 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 wah. And that's basically how I feel about the subject. Moving on. Finally, to the Reddit reaction. Let's see what other users have to say. The original Gronky says, part of the problem could be that The Weeknd, who had the only song in Billboard history to spend over a year at the top 10, got absolutely 0 nominations for an album that was both critically and commercially acclaimed. A song like that should at least have been Song of the Year and Record of the Year. At least nominated for it. but it got nothing. Thank goodness that Taylor Swift was there yet again to pick up another Grammy for her brand of genreless snooze pop. Friends Suggest Reddit says, I'm not really concerned about downvotes. It's just that every time the absurdity of the Grammys come up, Jethro Tull versus Metallica is always mentioned. It's exhausting. It's exhausted. I guess my point is that by the time I was even aware of the situation as a know-nothing 14-year-old, it was already ancient history, and people are still griping about it today. It's one of those things that people robotically repeat on Reddit, and it's just frustrating. Well, a lot of things are certainly just frustrating. That's all. The guy I was originally replying to reinforced my point. By his own admission, it's literally all he knows about the Grammys. It's just a fun fact that continues on to be repeated here on Reddit. Hot Mix says, I missed Spring Forward. I felt tired and noticed it was a bit darker outside in the AM, but if the iPhone didn't automatically adjust my time, I would have been late for everything. I figured it out today when I noticed my oven time was wrong. Tunefish01 says, I didn't know the Grammys were yesterday, and I don't know what a Grammy is. Is it for music? Music in a TV show? Well, I don't really care either. If I enjoy a TV show or music, then I enjoyed it. I don't need someone else to enjoy it for my enjoyment to matter. Wow, that's deep. Honestly, like this comment about the Grammys, not knowing about the Grammys, articulates the controversy of the Grammys almost perfectly. I'm just gonna reread that last sentence. If I enjoyed a television show or some music, then I enjoyed it. I don't need someone else to enjoy it for my enjoyment to matter. Your Dime Time says, the great thing is that anyone can produce or distribute excellent technical quality recordings now. The record industry machine has lost its exclusivity. And because of this, we have learned that great talent is not something that's limited to a small group of music gods. Many people are just as talented and gifted. So support the indie folks. Fuck the money industry. And support the artists who matter. Fuck the money-sucking record industry machine. Farnsworth says, Farnsworth. That's funny. Grammy credibility in a nutshell. Blinding Lights peaked at number 1 in 34 countries, including the United States and Canada, where it became the Weeknd's 5th number 1 single on the Billboard Hot 100 and the Canadian Hot 100 for 4 and 7 weeks, respectively. It also became his first number 1 single in Germany for 10 weeks, the United Kingdom for 8 weeks, and Australia for 11 weeks. Blinding Lights was the best performing global single of 2020, and it earned 2.7 billion successful singles worldwide. 2.7 billion subscription stream equivalents globally, according to the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry. It is his most successful single worldwide to date, and currently holds the record for most weeks spent in the top 5 and top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. On March 9th, 2021, it became the first song to hold a spot in the top 10 of the Hot 100 chart for an entire year. 0 Grammy nominations. Edit. I want to be clear here. I don't know how the Grammys judge songs. I'm not pretending to know, and I'm definitely not interested in finding some way to objectively know. I'm just pointing out, a pretty decent chunk of fans and critics thought the work deserved a nomination, and the Grammys didn't. This disconnect is what strains the Grammys' credibility. Harajama says, it's always been whether big artists are already popular, no matter how trash. It's not about the actual best musicians. The most talented low-key musicians and songwriters most of us probably know personally are better than the "oh baby baby" caterwauling of most pop stars and the prepubescent piercings come to life that pass for half the hip-hop artists these days, regardless of the genre. They just haven't been plucked out by the big record companies. CBT Boss says, this is padded out with ads and only available on TV streaming replacement services that absurdly charge $65 a month. If you can live stream an inauguration for free on Twitch or on YouTube, there is no credible argument that can be made for it to cost that much while also having ads. Fuck the Grammys. Did it really charge $65 a month? Really? Is CNBC's live streaming service that much? Oh, okay, so you can just go to Grammys.com and watch it for free. Okay. So it was on Sling TV, Fubo TV, YouTube, Hulu, Paramount, and Grammy.com. Did that person just add up everything to get $60 a month? Weird. Well, from what I understand, you were able to watch it for free and it did have ads. I don't know where this person thinks that it costs $65 a month to be able to watch it. That's just not true. Accountability Bot says exactly. This is why most awards exist. It's pure marketing. Every time I hear the phrase award-winning, especially for something obscure, it usually turns out that the award was bought or paid for, or created by the award winner to give to themselves. That's totally true. Like, if you look at the number of DVDs that claim they're the movie of the year, like, you can go to the, just like some discount basket in Target, you know, that has $8 DVDs, and just look through piles of hundreds of them. And every single one of them has movie of the year, movie of the month, this website's movie of the year, that website's movie of the year. It's totally meaningless and doesn't mean shit. And there's a lot of things in our society that come from, like, everybody doing something that doesn't really work, but people continue to do it because everybody else does it. So there's an association with the people who succeed who do it, but they didn't succeed because they did it. They succeeded for something else. Everybody does it, and it doesn't actually matter. You don't need to be somebody to tell you you are the best and put that on your DVD for it to be a good movie, you know? And I'd like to believe that a large chunk of our society believes that. But anyway, that's it for now. If you like this kind of content, please do one of the 4 following. Watch another one of our YouTube videos, subscribe to this channel, comment below, or like this video. All right, everybody. Also, if you want to make YouTube videos just like this using software made for YouTubers, we have options for you. We have a tool that creates video live while you're making an audio recording. We also have the tool you're seeing right now, which allows you to read content more easily. There's tens of thousands of comments on Reddit, and a lot of them are shitty and short. So we just immediately eliminate all of them. So you can just browse the best, most interesting comments with the snap of a finger. Very, very, very easy. All right, everybody, that's it for now. I appreciate your time, effort, and attention. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!